Hey everybody, it is Kendell Lenice and welcome to Kendell Lenice Live. This is I want to talk about something, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, going through storms. But I was compelled to talk about this today, right now, just walked in the door, but I was compelled to talk about this because I know someone out there needs to hear it. And sometimes when I uplift myself and I learn, God gives it to me and I give it to you. It's important for me as a life coach and as a woman to pass on wisdom and pass on coaching and pass on what's needed to heal. For those that don't know, I'm trying to open up a center and I will open up a center called Be Healed. And I think a lot of our issues in life stem from unhealed wounds that many of us have, for whatever reason, traumas that we were born into, traumas that we've experienced along the way. And when you think of trauma, I don't want you to think about the major, like somebody was raped or someone was watched somebody die, or because there are a lot of traumas throughout life, little T's and big T's. So my main purpose is really to help us grow, as a woman, as a life coach, and a spectator of what I see out there. And, some of my clients, some of the people that I speak to at different events that come up to me, what I've come to know is a lot of people need to heal and a lot of people are going through it. No one is exempt from a storm. No one is exempt from sitting in that valley for a minute. No one is exempt from things happening to them in life. We all go through it. And I love to, as a life coach, talk about it because people think that life coaches' life is perfect. We're human beings too. We have moments as well. Yes, we may have tools that some may not have, but we go through it too. And I like to be around common folk who understand that. Just like a doctor needs a doctor, undertaker ain't gonna bury himself. You're not gonna look and say, oh, a teacher is gonna learn. A teacher can learn too, and that's what it's about, going through life. So I want to quickly and not take up too much of your time. And if you're watching it live, please comment. If you're watching it on the playback, please comment. Most of all, subscribe, like, and share, and pass this along to someone who needs to hear it. Even if it's one person that passes it on to another person, or one person needs to hear this message, then me taking this time on this crazy busy day to come speak to you, then it's all worth it, because that's what I'm about. Probably look sleepy, but that's all right. All right, so going through the storm. What is a storm? A trial, a tribulation that you're going through in life. So let's just pause right there. Going through. A storm is not the destination, right? Going through. Just like, all right, if you ever been to New York City, New York, and you're going through the Lincoln Tunnel, that tunnel is so long. But the destination, let's say from Jersey, is to get to New York. Now, if you're in other parts of the country and you know about the tunnels near you, insert them here. If you've never seen the Lincoln Tunnel, crazy backup, busy, you could be sitting in that tunnel for forever before and after you get out of the tunnel. But one thing we know is that you're going to go through the tunnel to your destination, which is New York. So when you're first leading up to the tunnel, you might be traffic, might be issues, problems, concerns with the car, other cars, whatever. But when you're going through the storm, through the tunnel, there's a destination waiting for you, right? And storms are no different, because once you go through that tunnel, you can kick, scream, yell, whatever, but you gotta go through that tunnel. You can be in a traffic jam. You could be sitting there for minutes or hours, annoyed, bothered, sad, upset, angry. But no matter what, you got to go through that tunnel. And that's what life is. A storm is going to catch you. And sometimes you're going to have your umbrella, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're going to have your rain boots, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're going to be barefoot, hair getting wet, face getting wet, clothes getting wet. And that's just the way it is, because there is a reason for the storm, even if you don't want to hear it. So I want to first give permission for people to fall apart, cry, scream, kick, ask God why, go through the motions. And people say, don't ask God why. If you have a relationship with God, God is not going to be hurt because you ask why. And it's not about why me, God, because why not you? It's just about why, to find answers and search inside, of the situation and yourself. But I love the fact that you go through a storm, meaning that you ain't going to stay in that thing forever. Even if it feels like forever, you're going through the storm. And eventually you will see the sun out of that tunnel. You will see the light at the end of that tunnel. Um, when you're going through a storm, your emotions are attacked, your physical is attacked, your spirituality could be attacked, and your emotion and your mental can be attacked, because when you're going through a storm, you're trying to figure out what's going on emotionally, physically, mentally, because sometimes people break down physically. Sometimes people's emotions and mental get the best of them. Some people have nervous breakdowns. It's a real thing, because some people don't know how or why they're going through the storm, or why they're always in the valley. And it takes some people to a dark place. And I know that I'm talking to someone out there, whether you're listening live on YouTube or Facebook, or whether you come back and listen to the replay. But there's always a reason. God has a reason for everything. And even if you don't understand why you're going through the storm right now, one day you may look and see, okay, that's why. So I just wrote down 5 quickly, reasons why you may be going through the storm, and to really show gratitude as you're going through the storm. Now, some of you might say, I ain't showing no gratitude. I'm mad right now. I'm mad at God. I'm mad at everybody. I kicked the dog earlier, and I'm going through it. But the number one reason you could be going through the storm is because you are being prepped for something greater. You may be being prepped for something greater. And going through this storm might be a part of that process. Just like if you're from Jersey, like I use the analogy, and you're trying to get to New York, you're trying to get to Manhattan, you're going to have to go through the tunnel to get to New York. There's no way around it. So if you have this destination of something that you want to do, achieve, or conquer, or you want to be, you can't do it without going through without going through the tunnel, without going through the storm. So you can say you want to get to New York, but if you know that you got to go through the Lincoln Tunnel on one part to get there from a part of Jersey, then that's what you're going to have to do, because you want to go to New York, right? So you want to be a better person. You want to be in a better space. So you are going to go through the storm. But I love the word through, because it's not the final destination. Number 2 I have on my list is, sometimes you have to really understand and know what you're made of. Sometimes you might be reminded of who you are through a storm, because sometimes when you go through things, you forget who you are and whose you are. So going through the storm will help you understand yourself better and remember, I'm pretty dope. I'm going through this. And also, just to add on to that, remember a storm that you went through before, and how you thought you were going to be in that storm forever, and how you grew from that storm, and how you got past the storm. And if you look back now over your life and be like, Dag, I didn't think I was ever going to get through that. But you did. So remember that it shows you who you're made of. Number 3 on my list is, it shows you your strengths and your weaknesses. You ever go to a job interview and they say, well, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And all day long, you can either tell them one or the other. I can tell you my strengths Or you can say, I can tell you my weaknesses, and some people can't tell both. When I've interviewed people before, they can't tell me quickly what your strengths are, what are your weaknesses. They don't know. But this Through the storm gives you an opportunity to see what your strengths are and to see what your weaknesses are. And you can address the issues right then. So if you see your weaknesses, if you get emotional, if you pop off, or you ignore, or you neglect, or you're quiet, or you stop praying, or you, whatever that weakness is, you stop talking to people, you shut down, then that gives you the inkling that, maybe I need to correct this behavior, whatever behavior it is. Maybe I can see a weakness, because we're all fallible, right? We all have weaknesses. And then you can also see your strengths. Like, I'm good in a bad situation, or I know how to handle my feelings and emotions. I know how to handle my physical. I know how to do this, or I know how to communicate. I know how to whatever. You get a chance to see who you really are, and get a chance to see your strengths and weaknesses, and be able to look at yourself and say, you know what, I got work to do, or I'm all right in that area. Number 4 on my list is, it's a time to uh, prioritize. So you might have priorities now. You might be doing something one way, or people, places, and things may be important to you. But when you're going through the storm, you're able to reprioritize and say, you know what? Let me go through this contact list. Let me delete these people. Let me go through my social media. Let me stop unfollowing these people. Let me give more time management to this. Let me do this. Let me be able to prioritize prayer, or prioritize my family or friends or closest people to me, and not just the people on social media. Let me reprioritize my life through this storm. That might be give you a moment to do that. And also, you have to see who you are through the storm. So when you prioritize, you'll be able to see. Or you might just need to prioritize. Maybe you haven't prioritized, and that's the problem. So it might be just time for you to prioritize, time to re-strategize and reorganize your life in the storm. And number 5 on my list, and the final one, is God knows what you can handle. Now it's up to you to know what you can handle. Sometimes I've gone through storm. I'm going through a storm right now. I've gone through storms before. I will continue to go through a storm. And sometimes it's like you see who you are through the storm. Now, my storm might not be a storm to someone else. Someone else's storm might not be a storm. I might look at somebody and, I'm not going to judge nobody's storm. I'm not going to look at somebody and be like, that ain't no storm. Let me tell you what I've been through. Or your storm. Oh, well, no, you don't judge or compare storms. Or in your valley moment, you celebrate and you show gratitude for everything that you're going through and everything that you've been through. And you thank God for it. Because if you're still going through a storm, that means you're still alive and you're here. But life is not, what did Langston Hughes say? My life ain't been no crystal stair. It ain't going to be a crystal stair. Life is not going to be perfect. Life has teeth and it bites. I heard Tracy Morgan, comedian, say that one time on The Breakfast Club years ago, and that stuck with me. He said, life has teeth and it bites. Jill Scott said, life is an MFer. It is. Sometimes it is, right? But you have to know who you are through your storm. And if you don't get reacquainted or acquainted with yourself through the storm, then you might get another storm that's quite the same, because you haven't learned your lesson. And we all have lessons to learn in this life. So if you're going through a storm right now, and I know that I'm talking to somebody, I'm not just talking to me. I'm talking to somebody right now going through it, however little, however small, big. People have trauma. People have issues and situations and complications in their life. Somebody is homeless right now. Somebody doesn't have a job right now. Someone lost all their family. Someone doesn't have a family to begin with. Someone wants a relationship and they're not in one. Someone's children have passed away. Someone is going through it right now because their kid may be wayward. Somebody is going through it because they're sick, they're unhealthy. Somebody might be going through it right now because they have no one around them to call but God. And that is, it's plenty of storms that you're going through that you can go through. You've gone through one before, you could be in one now, and later you're going to go through another one. And it's not about counting the storms or understanding why the storms come. It's about preparation. Think about when a city, state, Mississippi, Louisiana, they're having a storm. You have to prep for the storm. Even if you know the storm is not coming yet, but if you know that it's prone to storms, then you have to prep for the storm. You got to get out your good boots and your rain hat and your raincoat because you're going to be stepping in some water. You're going to have to prepare for the storm. Get the good book out, whatever good book you use, get it out, get your positive out, get all of these tools out because you know one day you're going to go through a storm. That's just the way it is. When you're in a state and it has storms, they prepare for the storm, even if it ain't coming for a year or two. That, remember when the levees broke? Y'all remember that with Hurricane Katrina? They weren't prepared for the storm, even though they knew they were in an area where it stormed. And it was a lot of sadness during that time. And news wanted to say that they weren't prepared for the storm. Now, I'm not telling you to live your life being prepared for the storm, but know a storm is coming. And I don't want you to freak out when the storm comes. I want you to handle that storm like a G, like a boss, because you know that you're going through the storm. You're not staying there. Just like that Lincoln Tunnel in New York. That tunnel can be long or short, depending on the day, depending on the hour. But you know that you will see the light when you get out of that tunnel, when you get out of that storm. So I'm going to recap and then I'm going to end this live. Going through your storm may attack your emotions, your mental, your physical, your spiritual self. But I want you to look inside yourself and remember who you are. Number one, you're being prepped for something greater. Number two, you have to know what you're made of. And sometimes storms show you that. Number three, it shows us our strengths and our weaknesses and where we need to grow. Number four, it's time to prioritize, reorganize, re-strategize. Number five, God knows what you can handle. And you got to know who you are and whose you are. So I hope that helps someone. If you know someone going through a storm right now, please share this video with them. Share it to your social media pages because I guarantee you somebody's going to come across it and is going to need the word. And the word is not coming from me. It's coming through me. Okay? So it's not even about millions of people seeing this video. If 1 to 10 to 0, well, not 0 because somebody got to see it. But if one person sees this and it helps heal them, then it's all worth it. But thank you so much for tuning in to Kendell Lenice Live. Woo-hoo-hoo. Be healed, y'all. I want y'all to be whole, happy, and blessed. Know that you are great. If no one told you you are amazing today, I'm telling you right now, if no one told you that you can beat this storm and go through this storm to get to the other side, I'm telling you right now, y'all be blessed. Peace.